Hello everyone, it's me Jeff, your friendly scout leader. We're going to be talking today about the sky at night. What is it we see up there? How far away is everything? We want to get to know the scale of things, and it's truly incredible when you understand the distances that we can look at when we look up at the moon and the stars and the Milky Way and everything. Let's think first of all about how far away is the moon. Okay, so if there's a full moon or when the moon's up tonight or any time, go and have a look and have a think about it. How long would it take you if you had a car to drive to the moon? Do you know? Well, the answer is it could take 6 months to drive at 60 miles an hour. And that's because the moon is 240,000 miles away on average. It varies slightly, but 240,000 miles away. So if you go in a car, that takes 6 months to get there. Of course you can't drive, but Harry Potter, you know, he could do it, couldn't he? So in a way that's an enormous distance, but is it when you start to think of what else is up there? Let's think about one of the planets. The nearest planet to us is Mars, and you can actually see Mars at the moment. If you go out, if it's clear tonight, and if you look, someone can tell you which way south is, you'll see there's a reddish looking, slightly reddish looking star, but it's not a star, it's the planet Mars. And at the moment it's about 124 million miles from Earth. Now of course, because it's one of the planets, like us, it goes round the sun. So the distance varies. You think about two cars going at different speeds around a racetrack at different times. Sometimes it's closer and sometimes it's far away. And that's my dog barking, which she's had her dinner. Go on, go out in the garden, Rosie. So sometimes Mars is only 34 million miles away, and other times it's as far as 250 million miles away. Also, something slightly different about Mars, its year, the time it takes to go around the sun is nearly twice as long as Earth. So Earth, we go around the sun in 365 days, so we call that a year. Mars takes 687 days, so a year on Mars is nearly twice as long as it is on Earth. Okay, let's think about the sun. Obviously you can't see the sun at night, but the sun is our star. It's just an ordinary star, very, very average, not particularly big in the scheme of things, but there are some smaller. So how far away is the sun? Well, in miles, it's about 93 million miles away. So we think we said about the moon is 240,000 miles away. Well, the sun is 93 million miles away. So then we have to start thinking, well, how do we relate to that? Have you heard of the speed of light? The speed that light travels at. It's an unbelievable speed. The speed of sound, yes, we can relate to that. The speed of sound is 760 or thereabouts miles an hour. So your average jet plane you go on holiday in travels at about 500 miles an hour. The speed of sound is about 760 miles an hour. So it's fast, faster than a plane, much faster than a car. But the speed of light, the speed that light travels at, is 186,000 miles a second. So you can't imagine how fast that is. So then you hold that thought, 186,000 miles a second, but the sun at 93 million miles away, light takes 8 minutes to get from the sun to Earth. So I know you can't look at the sun, but if it is cloudy or you know where the sun is, as we're seeing it at any given moment, that's as it was 8 minutes ago. Light from the sun, travelling at 186,000 miles a second, has taken 8 minutes to get here. So at any given moment, for all we know, the sun doesn't exist because we're seeing it 8 minutes ago. It might have blown up. It will one day, but not for a very, 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 very long, long time. But it's just an idea of the scale of things. Another little point, we look at the moon. Does the moon shine? How come we can see the moon? And it's an important distinction I want you all to understand. The moon doesn't shine, and the planets Mars don't shine. They're acting just like mirrors. So the sun is down below the horizon, and all you're seeing is the sunlight reflecting off the moon or off Mars, and that's how we see it. Whereas all the other stars in the sky, they're actually just like the sun. They're shining in their own way. There's an important difference. The moon doesn't shine, it's just reflecting the sunlight from below the horizon. Okay, so the sun, 93 million miles away. How far away is the nearest star, the nearest proper star apart from the sun? Well, the answer to that, it's 4.24 light years away. So light travelling at 186,000 miles a second has taken 4¼ years to get here. If you can try and get your head around that, that's just unbelievable distance. This little star, Proxima Centauri is what it's called, and you can't actually see it from where we are in Britain. You'd have to go south of the equator to see it. It's a very small star, it's only 1/7 the size of the Sun. Our Voyager rockets, which we launched, or the Americans launched in 1977 to go and explore the planets, they have only just reached the edge of the solar system, and they would take about 165,000 years to get to Proxima Centauri. It's so far away, and yet it's the closest star to us. So you see, in some ways it's an incredible way away, but in other ways it's not really, because you look at all the stars around us, they vary in distance. The brightest star that we can see, apart from the Sun, is very easy to look at the moment. It's called Sirius. And once again, if you go outside and look tonight, if it's clear, look eastwards, you should see the constellation of Orion. And the easy thing about Orion, it's very bright, it's got 3 stars in the middle, which is Orion's belt. Orion was the hunter, and the 3 stars are diagonal, dum dum dum, and that's his belt. And if you follow the line of his belt, it'll point down to a very bright star, and that's Sirius. And that's only 8.6 light years away, so that is one of the closest of the stars. But all the other stars you see in the sky, they vary from 10, 20, 100 million, 1,000 light years away. They vary enormously. And they are all in our own galaxy. So all the stars you see, including the Milky Way is just our own galaxy of stars that we're seeing edge on. So they vary up to, say, 100 or 1,000 light years away. So you get unbelievable distances. But then one final thought before I frazzles you all. What then is the furthest possible thing that the human eye can see without the aid of a telescope? And that is the Andromeda Nebula. You need to look in the constellation of Andromeda, and I can tell you another time exactly where you see it. And on a very clear night, if you know exactly where to see, you can see this tiny little hazy object, which is the Andromeda Nebula, and that is a complete different galaxy. So, not of our own stars. You're looking the equivalent. Imagine if all the stars that we look at were painted on the inside of an umbrella, and they're all there just around us. Imagine poking a hole in the umbrella and looking right the way through to an unbelievable distance away, and that distance is 2 million light years away. So if you can see the Andromeda Nebula, you are looking at something as it was 2 million years ago. The light has taken 2 million years, travelling at 186,000 miles a second. It's just mind-blowing. So there we are, that's probably enough for now. Have a look at the night sky and just try and get an idea of the distance that we're looking at. But if you see a satellite, which you almost certainly will, bear in mind that that's only a few miles up. That's very, very close. The satellites are put up there by us, by man. That's how we can get sat-nav on the cars, that's how our mobile phones work. And they're only just in the near atmosphere, the near edge of space, up at the farthest reaches of our atmosphere. So they're really, really close, much closer than the moon. So you look at a satellite, just a single light just moving slowly, just like a star, and that is equivalent, so close that you can reach up and touch it, compared with stars that we see. So there we are, that's it. Go and have a look at the night sky and fill yourself with wonder.